As long as we're talking about perspective, let's go ahead and take a quick look at Perspective Warp. This is an absolutely amazing tool Photoshop has for correcting slight perspective issues or for really warping things, which I think is a blast. So let's take it to the extreme. I'm just going to duplicate this background and create a smart object out of it by converting it to a smart object. That's a right-click, convert to smart object. No reason really to duplicate it. I just like to have an original around for comparison so we can see what it will look like when everything's done. I'm going to go to Edit and Perspective Warp. And if this is your first time using it, it will pop up with some little how-tos. Basically, what you do is you drag out a little grid, and then you take the little points on that grid, and you match them up to whatever you're going to be warping. You add in as many grids as you want and they'll connect together. Notice when they highlight on that edge, boom, they connected. I'm going to go ahead and move them around until they match up with the box. Now I need a third one so I can really do some great warping. I'm going to connect the points together here and it will automatically link them into a cube that fits around the crate. Now I'm able to do this because I'm in layout. Once I go to warp, I'll be able to change it. Don't just press OK. That will just apply the perspective warp. That's something that gets a lot of people. It's actually a two-step process. So now I'm going to go to warp. Now I could do stuff. There are ways to correct things in here, automatically straighten vertical lines, for example, and that will straighten it. I'm not going to worry about the background right now. We'll deal with that later. Notice that it's straightened this out. That's actually pretty cool. You can, now this is going to have a great wild effect. Automatically level near horizontal lines. Well, yes, I mean, sure, it's turned it into a box. I'm going to undo that last step. Boop. Go back to the start here. So I could undo it. I'm just going to reset the whole thing back to the start. There's also the option here to try to do an auto warp to the horizontal and vertical, but again, it's going to have a similar effect. Notice how it's making up new information so cleanly on this, how it's tearing things up. What I mean by that, let me go ahead and just warp it up. Look, we can see the other piece of the paper. It's doing a great job. This is really one of Photoshop's best warp tools. It's absolutely insane if you use it on on organic style things. This is inorganic, this box. So look, it's generated so much new stuff. It will go as far, it will make new windows for you if you're doing this on a building. It's absolutely amazing. All right, so we've built this crazy thing. We've obliterated the rest of the image, but that's okay. Go press enter. And it's okay because smart objects, when you apply edits, they will build smart filters. A smart object with a filter will be a smart filter. Blah. There we go. That means that I can use a masking technique straight on the smart filter. And I'll just be quick about it. I'll use this polygon lasso tool, click a few times and kind of just go around the box. I'm going to be clumsy about it since I know you guys don't want to watch me click on this thing for like 15 minutes or use the pen tool or any of that stuff. This isn't a masking tutorial. I just wanted to show you how cool the perspective warp is. Now that I've got this is the opposite of what I want masked. So I'm going to inverse my selection with Control-Shift-I, inverse my selection. And now I'm just going to fill this with black. It's Alt-Delete since I've got black as my foreground color. And voila, I've got this crazy thing just sitting here. Now we can compare it to the original and after. Now you notice though, of course, we have a slight issue. The box, the original box is still in there. A few things we could do. We could eliminate the box. We could mask this one off. So if I refer to, for example, control click on this to grab the mask again, come up to the original layer and apply a mask. Boop. Now I've just got the crate by itself because I've masked the layer itself. So I could drop this in someplace, or I could just put this in a new file altogether. But again, look at this. Out of this little dot, it's tried the lines. It looks like there's text. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun. And you can use this on more traditional types of edits as well. If you wanted to make this seem like a much taller building, I'll just do a really rough edit here. Let me just convert this to a smart object. And this is another Pixabay image. I just have a bunch of images from Pixabay. I'm going to go to Edit, Perspective Warp. Same deal as before. I'm going to create a grid. And I'm going to, you know what? I'll do it on this building first. Create a grid. Let's do it a little more traditional. Connect those together. What do I mean by traditional? This is more what it's supposed to be used for, just kind of on buildings and all that stuff. Now these plants are going to go crazy, so watch out for that. All right, now I'm going to go to warp, and now I can do something like make a huge building. Just make it look like it's forever tall. Now, if I start getting some strange issues, what I'd go back in do is go back to the layout and then alter the perspective grids here. And I can do something like this, and it will try to capture it. Now that's going to do some pretty crazy stuff, but let's see how that handles it. Probably need to extend it out a little bit more, but that will give me a little more control. Now I need to pull this up. Here we go. And you can see I can make it a very tall building now. And if I run out of space, what's a good tool to use so that you don't have to exit? That'd be your navigator. So I'm just going to go to Window, and I'm going to bring open my navigator under N and zoom out quite a bit. There we go. And that will allow me to grab my points and warp them out further. I'm bumping into myself, so you gotta watch out for that. Here we go. So I could just make this building look like it's really, really tall for some reason right here. And let's tell it okay. It does that transformation. And again, if I don't want it to apply to everything, I've got the mask. But check this out. Look at all the work that it did. It does a really good job. It's a great way to do some either really minor edits to correct stuff. If you wanted to, for example, do something a little more normal, go to Edit, Perspective Warp. Let's say I felt that this building was maybe on this side right here, kind of a crooked building, and I wanted it to not be a crooked building. So I would mask it in. Boop. Okay. And then I missed a little bit, so this is going to be a little strange, but let's watch. Warp. Look at that. I can straighten it up just like that. If I wanted to, I could flatten it out too, but I don't know why I'd want to do that. You can also make it seem more extreme, like with a fisheye lens or that sort of thing. Let me go ahead and OK it. A lot of fun stuff can be had with this particular edit. And again, that's under Edit, Perspective Warp. It will be treated as a smart filter on a smart object. Okay, if you have any other questions, go ahead and shoot me an email. I'll be happy to answer them in video format. You have a good one.